Oh, well, here we go. We can clarify. We are talking to married people. So
I can't help you if you're saying, I'll be honest with you. These streets
if you
is
are
different.
married to someone and you are still wondering if that person is the one, I'm going to need you to refocus.
No, unless,
because they are the one.
Unless things.
Absolutely. I'm not talking about abuse.
Yeah.
We're not talking about abuse, adultery of any kind,
yeah.
or abuse of any kind. Yeah. Whatever abuse is to you. So we're not talking about those things. We're just talking about you married and you up here having doubts. Okay, let's refocus, because now you and your spouse need to figure out how you guys are become one.
Yo, what's good, family? It's Phillip and Krystin again with another episode of Naptime and Nuptials, where
it all goes down when the kids go down.
We are sticking with that one.
And our kids literally went down.
Yeah, they went down. It's been a day. Oh my. It's been a day.
But we're here. We're here.
We are here, and we are with the people that we enjoy so much. Some of y'all.
Yeah.
Some of the people.
Of course.
Of course. All right. So, before we get started, I want to thank all you guys for tapping in with us. We don't take it lightly that you give us minutes and, minutes and seconds of your day. It's not hours, because the episodes aren't that long. I guess they kind of can be messages. I don't think that's the goal. But anyway, we don't take it lightly that you've given us time out of your day to hang out with us. So thank you all so much for tapping in with us. As always, please like and share the comment. Share, comment, subscribe.
Do all the YouTube things.
All the YouTube stuff that really helps the content go further and really helps the channel out. And it's at no cost to you, which is also great.
Yep.
So we have other things that can cost you. So if you guys would like that, let us know as well.
Take the free while you can.
No, don't. That's not a business model. All right. So what are we talking about today, Mama?
Okay, y'all. So we're talking about something that I've been seeing hopping around social media. Y'all know I love social media.
She be on social media, because this is like the fourth. I'm being dramatic. I think it's the second episode we've done.
No, like
social
as I
media
see
driven
things like be trends and be like topics that I see over and over again, I'm always like, that would be a dope podcast episode.
I guess that's how life is made these days.
Yeah, because I think also like if I'm seeing it going around, then I feel like it's happening. Yeah. And people need to talk about it. So I want to talk about something, because I've been seeing people talking about like, and I'm guilty of calling Phillip, like saying like he's the one, or like finding the one. Like that's everyone's goal, is to find the one. Mm-hmm. But is the one really real? Mm-mm. Is it a real concept? Or should we be focused on becoming one flesh when we get married? Do you think, we've talked about this before, but so I know how you feel. What do you feel about the term the one?
For me, I think it is very off-putting, for lack of better words. And it makes me kind of want to shut down. So, everybody might not have mentality, but I'm like, there's 8 billion people in the world, roughly. Like there's one person. What if that one person is in China? I mean, I have never been to China. How will I have access to this one person? What about these other people who are, not, I guess, the one, but you end up with them? Or, what happens to people who like get divorced? Like, there's so many questions that come to my mind. I think that
this isn't an easy question.
I personally like to think of it as better or worse than like the one. Yeah.
So
better,
for me,
suitable,
I think I see it kind of a different way than you. Like, I just think that truly, like, well, of course, there's always God's best for you. But I think sometimes we focus on, because first of all, if you're married to someone, that's the one. That's a whole nother argument. And I think that's where it like gets dicey. Yeah. Because
or you're in covenant with that person.
You're in covenant because in Genesis 2:24, that's what I was saying. Like it says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Yeah. It says shall become, which implies future. So
like a process of time.
Absolutely. So, and not even just a process, like he didn't find the one. And then they got married and they were already one. It says that a man shall leave his mother and father, cleave to his wife, marry her, and they will become one flesh together. So I think that the oneness, that's
the goal, is what you're saying?
Is the goal, but that happens in marriage, not because you found this person.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Well, it can't really happen before marriage because there's no level of commitment.
There's no covenant.
I know people like to think that we're committed in relationships, but we aren't.
But until there's that
covenant, out, guys. You still got out.
No. Well, maybe. I guess technically you do.
You do.
But until you get married, that oneness doesn't happen. So I think, and then once you're in that covenant, the concept of the one really is irrelevant at that point. Like, it's your job to do the work. Yeah. To be the one, and to be one together.
Once you're in covenant, then the goal is to becoming one flesh part.
Absolutely. To walk out this thing that has already happened. Yeah. So when you get married, you become one. Now as a married couple, it's your job, if you want to succeed, to walk that out. Yeah. So I just think that this elusive, finding the one, I think it kind of puts a strain on I don't know. It's just honestly, it just feels like, and because of course that term is pre-social media, but it just kind of feels like I think setting you up.
I do think it's a setup. Yeah. And the enemy, I'm not saying it's the enemy, but the enemy is so crafty, man. The one can really keep you from, or keep people, or keep lots of people from really leaning into someone or some opportunity that they're like, well, it doesn't look like what my one should look like.
Absolutely.
And we put these parameters.
It's a limiting belief.
Yeah, limiting belief. Wow. I was trying to say that in a long way. Thank you for the short way.
You're welcome. That's why I'm your one.
Yes. So we're already married, so we're becoming one. The oneness doesn't matter. That's what you said.
We're walking it out. Yeah. We're already one. I'm your one.
That's true.
So here we go.
That's true.
Stay by day.
But it kind of is against your argument that you're making, saying that I am the one. But it don't.
No. I mean, the whole finding the one. That's what I was saying.
Okay. I'm just saying it for the the people out in.
So you're saying you already know that you're my one.
Can we move forward? This is becoming a lot me-centric. I really want it to be.
Okay, so we'll move forward. So I think that I think that it's just misplaced priority and misplaced focus. The reality is that when you marry someone, that's not the time to be trying to figure out if y'all are compatible. Yeah. I think that too many people are. I think it's really easy to see other people's marriages and start to compare and say, you mentioned this, this doesn't really look like what I thought it would. Well, at that point, it's the two of your job to create.
And a lot of times, especially with social media, we end up comparing our day ones to everybody else's day thousand. Mm-hmm. And so that's just not a fair comparison anyway, because, kind of no matter what, you would hope that if you're moving down a path, you get better at some point.
And I'll just say this as somebody who creates content and has done it for years,
plug
social media is not always real. Yeah. And I think especially marriage content sometimes, which is why it makes me cringe sometimes, especially TikTok and Reels, there are formulas almost. There are things that you can do and say on social media that will go viral. Yeah. If you use this trending song and you make this 4-second video, you can almost bet on it that it's going to go viral. It doesn't mean it's authentic. Yeah. It doesn't mean that it's real. And I think that we're seeing these people have these relationships on social media, and sometimes it does get really easy to say oh dang, they've got a weekly date night. Isn't it so cool? That person cooks for that person cooks for them. Their house is always clean. Their kids are always perfect. That comparison game. Yeah. Once again, it's just sneaking back in its different forms. So now instead of envying people in real life, you get the pleasure of envying people that you don't even know.
So the question that I have then, with that in mind, do you feel like the concept of finding the one breeds a comparison trap?
Absolutely, because I think, now I'm not saying that you need to seek God and have God's okay. You know what I mean? Have God's backing when you decide to choose a partner, choose a husband, or choose a wife. But I think that it does the idea that you've got to find this perfect person to fit your perfect needs and your desires, and y'all gonna walk out this perfect life, and it's just gonna go the way you think. Like, I think that does breed a comparison trap, because no matter what, like, you still have to do the becoming. Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Like,
we don't talk about that enough. Like, I know everybody's out here looking for something else, but if you aren't becoming the person that, not necessarily that you're looking for, but just becoming the person that you should be. For your marriage before you even meet that person, then what's the point?
And again, we've said this before, like, it's gonna change and change and change and change and change. Yeah. And I think that's why the focus needs to be on becoming and being. Yeah. At the same time, like, yeah.
Not really finding.
Not really finding.
Yeah. So, what is your, like, how do you define, like, becoming one flesh?
Well, I think, like, it takes action. So I think, like, the things that we've been talking about, like communication, healthy communication, like prioritization, like seeking to serve the other person, those are the ways that you can become.
I had another question.
I like that. You're like, ooh. But those are the ways that you guys can become, like, take your part in the becoming. And also, like, I think that really, truly married people, like, really, really don't realize the priority of prayer. And I think especially we talked about this, for a lot of men, it's intimidating to, like, pray with and over your wife. And so I think, like, I don't know. I think sometimes we're just trying to do it on our own. Like,
we talked about that?
Yeah, we did. We talked about it once before.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, I don't think it was on the podcast. I think we were talking about it, like, in private. Yeah, but y'all can tell us. We talk about it. I think that we underestimate the power of prayer and, like, asking God to lead us in that. Mm-hmm. Like, God, when was the last time? And I asking myself this too, and I don't know. When was the last time you asked God, like, God, help me and my husband to truly become one flesh? Mm-hmm. Like, I think that there's so much power in just that one prayer.
Yeah, I asked him that, like, this morning.
Well, look at you.
I know, right?
You're ahead of the game.
Yep.
What's your question? You said you had another question.
It escaped me. No, okay. But so what people could hear is like, oh, I can just pick whoever. It's a free for all. So what are the alternatives? Like, you're saying, like, oh, I knew about the whole idea of the one. What do you think is the alternatives then? Like, what is the right way to be seeking a spouse in your opinion?
In my opinion, yeah, because this is definitely an opinion.
This is.
But I think honestly, being equally yoked is probably a huge thing.
Let's walk that out a little bit.
Let's walk it out. So, like, the Bible says, like, be ye not yoked together with unbelievers, and, like, once you're yoked with one, like, you're stuck with them. Okay, let's think about that. Like, that's, for me, hearing that, and I think I always had, like, I didn't have a full, like, understanding of that, but I always feel like I had, like, an understanding back of my mind, because I know, like, when I dated people, I would be like, there's no way I'm marrying this person. Really, truly, then why are you dating them?
Why would you date somebody you're not going to marry?
So Phillip,
that's a waste of time.
Phillip was not a dater.
Ain't got time to be out here playing with y'all.
Yeah, Phillip was not a dater. This is his whole thing. Well, he was not a dater because he was like, I mean, if I date somebody, you know, like, there's a possibility, like, I need to think of this as, like, would I marry this person? Well, everybody's not like you. Everybody's not like you. Right. I wasn't doing that.
Folks really out here wasting their time.
Yeah.
You don't get it, but a allotment.
I think that's a big one. If I was to tell somebody, like, what's something you should be looking for, I would think that'd be number one.
So I agree on the yoked part, equally yoked aspect. I don't know if we, as a community or church or however you want to call it, I don't know if we define that out enough. That's, because now in this season of seasondom, is like just saying, like, oh yeah, both of us Christians, that's not really enough.
Yeah, like what are your belief systems?
Yeah, we gotta talk about
a lot of things.
What do you consider giving? What do you consider tithing?
Yeah.
Like, how do you read your Bible? Do you believe that Jesus actually died on the cross and that he rose from the dead?
Do you believe that
there's
a lot of questions.
Do you believe in spiritual warfare? Do you believe in generational curses? Who are your people?
Do you believe that there's more than one God?
Yeah.
Like,
do you believe that Satan is real?
Yeah.
Like demons are real. We need to talk about this. Like, I'm not saying you gotta. I'm not saying that all the answers have to be the same.
Yeah.
I would probably want them to.
But if I were to tell you what you should be looking for when I say the word equally yoked, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because, I really think, like, Krystin and I have grown a lot since we've gotten married in our spiritual space.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I do think about, like, what if I had ended up with someone else who wasn't as open to growing in those spaces? Like, there are things that we do now that we never even considered or knew, years ago. And so that is an aspect there of, being as equally yoked as possible, but also being open enough to really continue to grow over time and deeper, which is the whole goal of walking out your faith.
Yeah.
And so,
and I think it's really cool because for us personally, like, as far as like growing in our faith, I feel like God has been really gracious in that even though he doesn't always reveal things to us at the same time, like, he has been revealing things to us both. Like, I feel like for the most part, we are on the same page. Sometimes it takes us a while to get on the same page, but like God always like reveals it to us in time. And I think that it's because of the yoke. Like, we are able to be equally yoked that way. When God does reveal something to us, like, even though I might think it's crazy at first, like, God like clarifies it for me, because like if he spoke to Phillip, he'll speak to me, or like, it's not always like that, but I feel like he always gives us kind of like an understanding.
Yeah.
No, your face.
I mean, there are revelations that I have, and Krystin looks at me like I have a head with 7 eyes.
They're not usually like, I'm trying to think of the word.
Yeah, think of the word. I would love to think of the word.
What's the word for it? Like,
crazy?
Foundational.
Well, no. They're not
it'll just be,
things.
And I think that's what we mean. Like, we're never going to ever get the same revelation.
I was way down the hole. There was a rabbit over there, and I was chasing it. But it's fine. Let's come back. And this is a little tangent, a little side note real quick. Our children sleep in a concert every night. So if you guys hear like ambient music, it's just their concert. Don't worry about it. Nothing happens.
It's worship night up in here, okay?
They worship, and their spirits worship all night long. So. Yep. And the neighborhood worships as well.
You can hear it outside.
Because we get down like that. But back to regularly scheduled programming. So yeah, the unequally yoked, the equally yoked aspect, I think, is very big. But I also, back to my concept of, better or worse. There are just people, I believe that there are better suitors for you and then others. And, I think when we look at like the story of Isaac and the Abraham sending his servant to go find a wife for Isaac, Isaac prayed and asked God. There were tons of women in that camp probably. And I'm paraphrasing and taking a little judgment there. But I'm sure there were more than one woman there because she had a mom. So there's at least 2. So there are more women there, but he sought God. Yeah, when she saw God, I think it just said brother. We're down the rabbit hole, but
Rachel and Leah.
No, we're talking about Isaac and Rebecca. But you're in a different generation.
I am sorry.
You're in a different generation. Yep. Okay, bring them back. Okay, so but anyway, like he saw God and was like, "Hey God, show me the one. Show me." I guess that's go back to the one concept.
Yeah.
Show me the one. Or wait. Abraham told the servant to go back. Don't get none of these women around here. So them are worse. They are not good suitors.
This is better.
That's better over there.
Anybody from over there.
And then Solomon had all them wives. They were not good suitors either. All right, so the concept stands. Yeah. There are some that are better and some that are worse. Yeah. Seek God.
The end.
That's some questionable backing up the theology there.
It's okay.
It works though. Yeah. It works. Read your Bible for yourself. Okay.
And ask God to help you. But anyway.
We already married though.
Yeah, we are.
Most of the people who are watching this are already married.
And that's okay. And that's why, like, you guys are who we're talking to. We're really not even, I mean, we are talking to people.
Oh, yeah, because you can get married and then be stuck on that, like, maybe they weren't the one.
What if I chose wrong?
Yo, okay.
Like, dude.
Okay.
That was my entire point.
We should have talked about that before we started the podcast, because I was completely...
No, I was literally...
Okay. We still got time. Let's pull it back around.
No, okay. So yeah, here we go. We can clarify. We are talking to married people. So
I can't help you if you're saying, I'll be honest with you, these streets is different.
If you are married to someone and you are still wondering if that person is the one, I'm going to need you to refocus.
No, unless,
because they are the one.
Unless things...
Absolutely. I'm not talking about abuse. We're not talking about abuse, adultery of any kind, or abuse of any kind. Yeah. Whatever abuse is to you. So we're not talking about those things. We're just talking about you married and you up here having doubts. Okay, let's refocus, because now you and your spouse need to figure out how you guys are become one flesh. Yeah. Because you became one when you made that covenant before God. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So you need to do the back half.
You're gonna have to do the work. You're gonna have to do the work. Yeah. To be the one.
You have to be the one who does the work. Absolutely. To have the marriage. Yeah. Oh, I snuck that in there. Inside joke. But no, yeah, I do agree. Like those sneaky thoughts, especially if you had things happen when you were dating that were like, hey, this person isn't for you, et cetera, et cetera. And then whenever y'all get in the rough patch, those things can definitely kind of come up.
What about it? We'll give an example. Because we have an example that we talk about all the time.
I don't want to give an example.
Okay, well, I'll give you... Okay,
you can go ahead and give an example.
So, like, for example, like... Phillip and I have we had this conversation before we got married that was kind of like, anyway, so we had this conversation.
I'm going to look in the camera.
We had this conversation before we got married. And I'm trying to like.
Dance, baby.
You told me we're transparent.
No, go ahead.
But anyway, like. We had an ongoing conversation.
Basically, we had someone tell us not to get married.
Yes. Okay. So, yes, we had someone tell us not to get married.
Now that the ice is broken, go ahead.
And they gave us a reason why. Yeah. And it was basically like...
They had a reason.
They had a reason. And so, for us, like, we went into marriage knowing that we would not let that thing hover over our heads.
So, okay, a little different from... My perspective was a little different from Kristen.
Okay.
So, like, in the earlier years of our marriage, when things did happen, I always went back to that conversation.
Absolutely.
And so
see,
it became...
Like, I'm never going to let it hover over my head.
Yeah, and she just let it go.
Yeah.
But we're different. And so she just let it go, and I'm like, yo, like...
Yeah.
Maybe that was right. Like, is he the one? And I was having this conversation, the one conversation in my head. Yeah. Because, my focus was still in that thing that happened years ago, even though I had moved forward in decisions, like in the things that I have done and the actions I had taken, but mentally I hadn't moved forward. And that's a whole different conversation that we should probably have one day. But, and it wasn't focused on becoming one flesh, because that's that like double-minded piece. Like, I can't be focused on becoming one flesh when I'm also trying to figure out if the person is the one that I should be one flesh with. And so you really have to own the covenant aspect and say, like, we are here now. Like, God, there's grace. I'm not saying hyper grace, but we're in covenant now. So hey, if I miss God trying, I mean, I'll take that any day than not making a decision. That's just how I live my life. Again, I don't live in a hyper grace. Kristen will tell you that I do not live in hyper grace. but no, like, the focus at that point should be on being the one flesh with that person, and really going through that process of becoming one. Yeah. Yeah. Because you guys are together at that point. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's so funny, because it really speaks to, I know we're not the only married couple that are totally different, but it speaks to our differences too, because Phillip is very, like, much more analytical than I am. And he like,
and so my thing was always like, I don't want to mess nobody else's life up. So, like,
we all know somebody who, like, their husband or their wife messed their whole life up.
Yeah, I don't want to mess somebody else's life up.
Wanted to be those people.
If I'm gonna mess up somebody's life, let it be mine. Absolutely. Like, let me control that. I don't want to mess. And I didn't. I took it from that aspect, and I guess that's like my responsibility aspect. Like, I took it from the aspect of, if we're not supposed to be together, God, tell me, because I want this girl to be who she need to be with.
Yeah.
Who you got for her. I ain't trying to check for her like that and hold her in something that ain't really what you got for her.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but we married now, and I guess that's all a moot point.
Yeah. And I think I'm a little different in that I am like, you know what, God, if I believe you told me to do this, you'll perfect it. Okay. And like for him, that is just
we different.
Yeah, that's a whole like I know a wild concept to Phillip, because he's like,
very wild. You
just like hurtling through life. Like wait for God to like catch you.
That sounds real wild to me.
But so anyway, but yeah, like we had to, that was something that we had to work through. And like even before we got married, it was a whole thing, because neither one of us wanted to marry wrong. Like, yeah, we both were like, we were willing to wait as long as it took to be sure. But I mean, there's never really a sure. Yeah, that's the thing.
It's just a wait that I don't know is helpful.
Yeah.
Like, we put all these, and this is a tangent, but we put all these parameters around marriage, and the only parameter should be, did God say it, yes or no? Anything else is kind of irrelevant, because if God said it and you did it when he told you to do it, and you know that he said it, then it don't really, all the other stuff don't matter. Like, well, you don't know this person long enough, or you don't da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, you know, they ain't lived their life yet. Yeah. What are you like, live my life? What are you talking about? Like, no, tomorrow isn't promised. So what life am I living? Today actually isn't even a thing. Today is just tomorrow from yesterday. Yeah. So, yeah, what do you mean live my life? I don't know.
I think that's just a big thing, like, about, again, like not trying to find that perfect one, or like constantly striving for that perfect one, but just you guys together being the people that are working towards perfecting that marriage. So I think it's just a really, like, I don't know. It's just something that I think, again, once again, it's just comparison. Okay, you know, the saying, comparison is the thief of joy. If you allow yourself to focus on everything that you and your spouse are not doing, and everything that makes you guys not one, versus what we can do to become one flesh day after day after day after day, I think that's what's most important.
Another thing that I'll share quickly as we wrap up, you know, that I always think about is, you know, the Bible in Job, when Job was going through those trying seasons of his life, and he says the thing that he greatly feared had come upon him. And so I try to, you know, I just think about that a lot. Like, I don't want to be fearing my spouse not being the one, because I don't want to be giving space for the enemy to do that thing that I'm open to, because I'm allowing fear to kind of invade my life. And so that's just kind of one thing I would share. Like, like, don't allow your fear to be the thing that actually pulls it. Don't use your own body to pull things towards you that are harmful. You know what I mean? Like, God has given us a playbook. Like, run the right play. Yeah. Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, so one takeaway. If you guys can take one takeaway from today, it's that the most important
marry whoever
thing,
you want.
I'm just absolutely not. Is figure out, take a step back, examine your marriage, and figure out how you guys can shift your focus from, oh my goodness, am I with the one, to becoming one with each other and walking that out with God's help. Yeah. That's the most important thing you can do.
I agree. I have nothing to add.
Oh, that's cute. I did a good job then.
You did a great job.
So, yes, we love you guys. We love you. And if you're here and you're married to someone, you guys have everything that it takes, with God's help, to have a beautiful, beautiful marriage.
I agree. But they say one moment in his presence. Oh. No. Am I going to catch the spirit every time we do an episode? That sounds like me, huh?
Well, anyway, we love you guys. So make sure you like this video, share it with somebody who needs to hear it.
With us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And make sure you subscribe.
All right. Talk to you guys soon. We out.
Peace.